I've been a lifelong fan of Doctor Who, from the days of black and white to the wilder runs of Tom Baker and the darker tones of Sylvester McCoy. But nothing, absolutely nothing, has irked me more than the timeless child story arc. This was the thing that made me stop watching the show. As a fan who's followed the Doctor through thick and thin, I could forgive some of the sillier moments and even the occasional misstep, but this arc? It was the final straw. It took everything we loved about the Doctor's mystery and smashed it to pieces. And for what? A forced, convoluted backstory that contradicts decades of lore. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I am your host, Snake Demon, and today we're going to tackle the timeless child arc and why I believe there's a way to write it out of existence without breaking the canon further. Let's take a trip back to the McCoy era and the New Adventures books that expanded on Time Lord society. These stories introduce the idea of Time Lords being loomed, essentially created from DNA in vats rather than being born in a traditional sense. It wasn't an entirely natural process, so the reuse of Time Lord DNA is possible, meaning different incarnations of one being can exist in various forms. But here's where it gets interesting. Under Andrew Cartmell's guidance, we were led to believe that the Doctor was more than just a Time Lord. He was there from the beginning, perhaps even one of the founders of Time Lord society itself. We've seen throughout the show that regeneration is often traumatic, and classic Doctors, especially the 5th and 6th, struggled deeply with their transformations. This was likely exacerbated by the fact that they were away from Gallifrey, without the calming atmosphere of their home to aid in the healing process. Zero Room in Castrovalva was meant to be a sanctuary for just this kind of recovery. Now, what if this trauma also allowed the Doctor to access fragmented memories from a deeper past? A past from before they were loomed. Take McCoy's iconic line in Remembrance of the Daleks when he says, "Didn't we have trouble with the prototype?" referring to the Hand of Omega. Was he speaking from personal experience? And what about Lady Pinefort's cryptic comment in Silver Nemesis about knowing the Doctor's true identity? These hints weren't just throwaway lines. They were breadcrumbs suggesting that the Doctor's origins are far more ancient and intertwined with Gallifrey's history than just being some adopted child of Tectean. This leads to my theory. What if the Doctor's previous faces, the ones we've glimpsed in fleeting moments, weren't some endless string of pre-Doctor incarnations that timeless child forced upon us? What if those faces were memories of the other, one of the Trinity that helped to found Time Lord society alongside Rassilon and Omega? The Doctor wasn't some immortal being from outside the universe, but the loomed reincarnation of the other. A Time Lord whose previous life was so far back in history that only the deepest, most traumatic regenerations could briefly access it. This would tie together so many of the McCoy era's hints, his confrontations with gods, demons, and ancient powers. The lost 4th season of McCoy's era would have delved further into these themes, giving us a Doctor who had more personal connections to the origins of the Time Lords and their most powerful relics. In this version of events, the timeless child never existed. The faces and lives that the Doctor occasionally recalls are fragments of his time as the other, loomed into the Doctor when Gallifrey's society was still forming. This would also explain the Doctor's departure from Gallifrey. I choose to believe that his departure was connected to his granddaughter, Susan. Not because of some vague, overreaching prophecy, but because of a natural birth, a break from the sterile, loomed Time Lord society. This explanation preserves the mystery of the Doctor while weaving together the rich tapestry of classic lore. It keeps the Doctor's origins tied to Gallifrey, and makes the hints from the Cartmell era meaningful, instead of tearing it all apart for the sake of an unnecessary retcon. I'm Snake Demon, and this has been the Snake Pit. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where I won't read them.